Hi everyone, so the other night GGG Grinding Gear Games has finally revealed their Path of Exile endgame and all of the features coming into the early access on the 6th of December. I was watching that live on stream with many other people. It was a lot of hype around it, and basically everyone is very excited, looking forward to this game, including myself. And I want to give my thoughts about this. A lot of people have been asking for this, and I am kind of late on making that video. But I can say that I'm very excited and very hyped for this video game. So I've been like following PoE 2 and the development over the years. Basically, the game was announced half a decade ago, and I've been looking forward to this. I have played a lot of Path of Exile 1. I have clocked in something like maybe 4,000 hours or something like that in Path of Exile 1, mostly, well, half a decade ago, and like in the most recent years I've not been playing it that much, but I've still been kind of keeping up with it. And well, now that this is coming out, finally, I think it's going to be a huge moment for the ARPG scene, and I want to talk through that and my plans a little bit as well. I absolutely have the intention to be on top of the game in Path of Exile 2, similar to how I've done it in Diablo 3 and Diablo 4. And this also means that for my YouTube channel, I will be uploading a lot of Path of Exile content. So you can look forward to that. You can look forward to my build guides, to my game guides, the same way I've been doing that for the last decade, basically, with Diablo stuff. I also do have my wudijo PoE YouTube channel. I actually made a separate channel at some point, some years ago, to upload content there, which was actually relatively successful for the little bit of content I made there. And I'm currently still debating if I should use that channel and revive it for PoE 2, or if I'm going to use my main channel. So I'd also like to hear from you guys what you think would be your preferred choice here. For now, I will be uploading on my main channel here, but maybe long term we'll see how things will kind of like, even out, basically, like how much time will I invest into PoE 2 versus Diablo 4, how will interest be, and so on. But yeah, for now, for the next like 2 months or so, you can definitely expect a lot of PoE content here. And then, as I mentioned, we'll see. What does it mean for the future? Well, I will still play Diablo 4. I still like Diablo 4, believe it or not. I actually have a good time when I play Diablo 4. And I know there's going to be a lot of people that will either play Diablo 4 or PoE and not both, but I will be doing both. So that is absolutely my intention here. And as I mentioned, we'll see to what exact degree. The thing is that Diablo 4 I have been like obsessing over for the past few years at this point. Even pre-launch, I was, very deep in like, already theory crafting game, testing the game, playing the game, all this kind of stuff. So it has been kind of a longer journey for me than for most, I guess. I'm also kind of at a spot where I feel like I don't necessarily have to invest a lot of time in Diablo 4 to, stay at the top level, let's say, with the way I've been doing it, and, the racing and the, all this kind of stuff basically that is going on. So I think I can kind of get away with less time spent from now on in Diablo 4 and more time invested into PoE 2. PoE 2 is certainly a game that will require a lot of time to be on the top, not just as a content creator, but also as a player. So in case you don't know that much about Path of Exile, I can tell you that little, well, it's a really big game. There's going to be 12 classes, each with 3 ascendancies, which are effectively subclasses. So effectively 36 different like main ways to play the game, and then they all come with, their own skills, but every class can use all skills, every class can use all weapons, and there is, a lot of combo potential, a lot of complexity in this game, a lot of like, crazy stuff you can do. So if you know anything about Path of Exile 1, then most of that will actually transfer over to Path of Exile 2. And I also absolutely expect that, as good as the trailers look and as good as the announcement was, I think there's like this huge hype moment. A lot of people have been looking for something like this. But you still have to remember, it is PoE. It is going to be a complex, difficult, also more slow-paced game the way it looks like, which personally I love, and I know a lot of other people will also enjoy that, but it's always something to remember as well. Good news though is that you're gonna see a lot of content from me as well to explain all that stuff to you. For the start, we don't really know if there's gonna be any tools. I kind of guess that it will take a while until people actually make like a planner for it, and we actually have like a working, like build making tools. So everything's gonna be very scuffed at start with the early access, I imagine. And I'm gonna have like, screenshots and paint available to me to make my build guides basically. So that's kind of the expectation for now. But yeah, on the other hand, as I said, I'm gonna be blasting this game at the very least until Season 7 launches, and then we'll see how much I will play of Season 7 in Diablo 4, and then probably go right back into PoE 2, because well, when the game actually launches into version 1.0, like the out of early access, that will be probably in around half a year from now. So I expect sometime like late spring or summer or so of 2025 is when the official launch will happen. And that's certainly going to be like, big hardcore world first races. And you guys know me, I love this kind of stuff. I like to be on top of the game. It's going to be very fun with like the much bigger competitive scene that PoE has. So I'm going to be probably playing a lot of hardcore in the future in this game as well. This is certainly a game that suits me very well, and also has like very tough endgame content, very tough hardcore mode. And I also know a lot of the existing PoE blasters that like are doing this kind of stuff, like are doing the gauntlets, like Ben, Carnes, these kind of people. I really like doing these kind of races, and it's going to be very fun to play alongside them in the future. If you have not seen the reveal just yet, I really recommend you to go check it out. It's like a, I don't know, roughly 1 hour video or so, and then there was like a follow-up Q&A of like, I don't know, 2 hours or more, where the devs were just sitting there with CGD talking about, their thoughts, their background, the development and all that kind of stuff. It was very cool and insightful, and I really admire GG for what they have been delivering here. It looks like this is going to be a massive release. The hype is unreal. And outside of that, I just think that this is also going to be a game that will thoroughly enjoy, and especially all of you that are also looking forward to something new, because maybe Diablo 4 hasn't really been delivering what you wanted, or maybe just need something else alongside Diablo, then this might actually be something really worth checking out. This game is eventually going to be for free. The early access will cost 30 bucks unless you have already spent a bunch of money on the game or you buy one of the supporter packs. So I really recommend you to get it one way or another. And otherwise, I mean, the devs have been doing a really good job. I have played Path of Exile 2 already. I was at Gamescom and I met the devs there, and I've been playing the game for, I don't know, maybe close to 10 hours or something like that if you count it all together. I've tried various different classes, like Mercenary, Warrior, Witch, and the Monk, and I think 1 or 2 more. I don't remember everything right now. And also, if you're wondering about what I'm looking forward to play, well, it's mostly going to be the more agile classes. So everything that's kind of like dex-based in some way. I guess that doesn't come as a surprise after like Demon Hunter and Rogue and Spiritborn. I will be playing those classes, of course. So this means you're going to be playing Mercenary. It's probably going to be my starter. I've also been sitting like here yesterday, for example, just looking at, skills, passive skills, like trying to think about, what could work together, already kind of crafting game a little bit. And I'm planning to continue that for the time being until we can actually play. It's kind of hard to do to really, like get a good feel for what it's like, because I've not played the end game. I've mostly played the early game. But, knowing Path of Exile 1 very well, and also having played PoE 2, I think I come prepared really well for this. One thing I can note though is that this is certainly going to be a very difficult game, not just from like, the build making perspective, but also from the gameplay perspective. GG is known for making things kind of tough and unforgiving. So that for example, death penalties, there are really tough boss fights, and there's like 100 of them just in the campaign. And then later on in the maps that you do in the end game as well. So in general, you kind of like have to try a bit harder in order to be successful in this game. I'm sure that eventually we're going to get to the point where we will actually have kind of like easygoing, easy to play builds as well that are sufficiently successful. And of course, this is also one of my goals for making build guides for you guys. I know I don't want to just do that sweaty try-hard stuff, but of course I also want to make it as easy as possible for you. I do have to say, on one hand, I find it quite interesting with how PoE 2 is coming out, and kind of feels a lot like what I remember from like way back in Diablo 4, for example. And this kind of seems like a way more like a game that I was actually also looking forward to playing. Not that I, dislike the way Diablo 4 is going right now. As I've mentioned, I do have a lot of fun playing Diablo 4, and I don't mind like this, more fast-paced blasting gameplay that we have these days that is like more resembling Diablo 3. But on the other hand, just like, the available tools, the complexity is actually kind of a good thing in my book for Path of Exile 2. And just like the amount of, like options you have at all times in order to combine skills, in order to make a cool build, in order to, influence your success and your efficiency, for example, they are definitely next level in Path of Exile 2. And while it does have a lot of stuff in the early access, A lot of people already think this might be too much for them. I don't think it's going to be that bad in terms of like, an overly complex like game system that, you cannot really, work your way through like in Path of Exile 1. I hear that from a lot of people always that they're kind of like disenchanted by how, vast Path of Exile 1 is. And Path of Exile 2 starts pretty strong, but it doesn't have like, a decade of lead content baked into the game at this point. They have reused a lot of the old tools and, renewed them and brought them into a modern era, it seems. But it's not like you have to like actually learn like 30 different league mechanics all at once when you start out in the game. And I think that's going to be a huge advantage. So I can only recommend you guys, if you're planning to play another game, then Path of Exile, starting out of it and kind of like doing the journey alongside everyone else is probably the best way of doing it. Because it's going to be way easier to add, all the new content and all of the new knowledge that you need to acquire over time to your already existing, knowledge that, it's going to be just way easier when you start with everyone else. And I know that for many people, the unforgivingness of, for example, bricking your character when you level up and you make the wrong choices, and then you have to like respec your build, but you can't really do that in Path of Exile 1. This might really deter them from actually trying out the game, but it has become a lot better. They have done various steps to ensure that there is a better new player experience, that there is, some systems in the game that actually allow you to pivot into like other setups more easily. So a lot of things are somewhat similar to Path of Exile 1 systems, and most people probably have tried it at some points, and many of them kind of got, disheartened by this, new player like unforgivingness basically. But Path of Exile 2 is doing a lot of things better on that front, despite being such a vast game with a lot of similar mechanics. Either way, I do want to stress that this doesn't really mean like the end for Diablo or something like that. A lot of people say like Diablo 4 is bad, Diablo 4 is dead, and these kind of things. And I don't really think that's going to be true. It's certainly true that PoE will catch up a lot and maybe even temporarily overtake Diablo 4 as like, like in the size of the game. We'll see exactly how it will play out. My prediction though is that long term both games will dictate the market in terms of ARPGs for the next years to come. It looks like Path of Exile is certainly going to have a crazy good start, and then a lot of people will stick to that. Some people will go back to PoE, some people will go back to Diablo. So we'll see exactly how this will go. And I just want to kind of be a voice of reason a little bit in this like massive amount of tribalism that we see here, with some people either being like all in like PoE fans or some people being like all in Diablo fans. I would just like to offer some words of reconciliation a little bit. You can like both, turns out. And if you don't like the other, then, well, at least you don't have to go around to, other people's streams and, make comments or these kind of things. We see that every day. I see that every day in my YouTube comments, in my stream comments, and so on. And it doesn't really have to be that way, I feel. So that's just like something I wanted to mention here. So there is certainly a good reason to play both games, or to just decide to stick with one of them either as well. In the end, I think that D4 and Path of Exile offer kind of the two sides of the extremes. D4 being like very on the casual front, and PoE being like very on the hardcore front. And even the softcore mode is essentially kind of hardcore in Path of Exile. And like a lot of things are just like way tougher, and you need to have a lot more game knowledge and so on in order to be like very successful in Path of Exile. And I think it's okay to enjoy both at the same time. I can only say that I'm very excited to see that there is so much hype around the RPG genre as a whole. With, we had the D4 launch and now the D4 expansion, which actually has gone relatively well, like the bugs and the Spiritborn stuff aside. I think that D4 is also on a relatively good track these days, and with PoE 2 coming, there's just a lot of eyes, a lot of focus on the genre, and I think that's just good and healthy. The competition is good, and maybe this will also, lead Blizzard to step up the game a bit more, do bigger updates, do more exciting stuff, be more innovative, and hopefully in the long term we're gonna have, two really good games to play here. So this is kind of what I'm looking forward to. I'm probably going to make some follow-up videos leading up to launch with all of this stuff that I know about Path of Exile. I have been doing a lot of research. As I mentioned, I have played the game as well. I have been in touch with the developers. I even had an interview with Jonathan Rogers, their game director, that you have also maybe seen in the announcement here, that was actually explaining a bunch of stuff in this trailer. So yeah, overall I do know a lot of Path of Exile 1 and 2, and as I mentioned, I'm planning to go really deep when the time comes. So let me know what you would like to see. I can already cover a bunch of things. As I mentioned, stay tuned when the time comes, there's going to be a lot of stuff uploaded here on this channel. And that's also it. I will link the announcements and, you know, everything related to Path of Exile 2 if you want to check it out, if you have not actually seen it. This was not a sponsored video or anything. I just wanted to talk about it, talk about my impressions with the game. And yeah, I generally had a really good time watching it. I'm very excited with, you know, like all the stuff they've announced is actually way bigger than my expectations. And I think it's going to be an awesome launch in early December, on the 6th of December. So keep that date in mind. I'll be streaming, of course. I'll be blasting like all day, every day. And it's going to be cool. So that's already it for this video here. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your requests for content as well, if you have any. And otherwise, I'll see you guys next time.